Chapter 1. Justification in Church History. The topic under consideration in this chapter, Justification in Church History, doesn't include the Old Testament and New Testament. Certainly, the scriptural witness is the most important history relative to justification, and most of this book will be devoted to the scriptural portrait of the doctrine. But in this chapter, before considering the biblical understanding, we consider briefly justification in the history of the church. It has often been said that we stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before us, and it would indeed be foolish to dive into justification without exploring what Christians in the previous centuries have said. Some, perhaps only a few Protestants, have had the strange idea that most of what was written before our time, or before the Reformation, is useless, or even harmful. A moment's reflection should shake us out of such a mistaken notion. Many godly and learned Christians have studied the Bible over the centuries, and their intent in studying wasn't to distort the biblical teachings so as to advance their own prejudices. Of course, they made mistakes and had blind spots, but the same is true of us. We aren't free of presuppositions and prejudices either. We don't venerate our ancestors in the faith as if they are infallible guides to the meaning of the Scriptures and of justification in particular. Neither do we ignore them as if they had nothing to say, as if they were all captured by alien ideologies. The Scriptures are the final authority, but the many godly believers who have walked the road of discipleship before us are also honored as our teachers. The early church. Some scholars have maintained that the early church writers didn't understand Paul's teaching on justification, and thus the truth was lost in the early history of the church. It seems that the situation was more complicated than this. When we actually look at the evidence, we have a number of affirmations of justification by faith, and in some cases, even of justification by faith alone. The epistle 1 Clement was probably written about AD 96, and he clearly affirms that justification does not come from piety or works, but by faith. 1 Clement chapter 32, verses 3 through 4. Similarly, the letters of Ignatius were written early in the 2nd century. He doesn't feature the word justification, but the concept is present, as he emphasizes the grace of Christ in his death and resurrection, finding his hope in God's mercy. Magnesians, chapter 8, verse 1, Philadelphians, chapter 5, verses 1 through 2, chapter 8, verse 2, and chapter 9, verse 2, and Smyrnians, chapter 6, verses 1 through 2, and chapter 11, verse 1. The most beautiful statement about justification stems from the epistle to Diognetus, chapter 9, verses 2 through 5, which was written in the 2nd century. It is worth reproducing here in full. But when our unrighteousness was fulfilled, and it had been made perfectly clear that its wages, punishment, and death were to be expected, then the season arrived during which God had decided to reveal at last his goodness and power. Oh, the surpassing kindness and love of God! He did not hate us, or reject us, or bear a grudge against us. Instead, he was patient and forbearing. In his mercy, he took upon himself our sins. He himself gave up his own Son as a ransom for us, the Holy One for the lawless, the guiltless for the guilty, the just for the unjust, the incorruptible for the corruptible, the immortal for the mortal. For what else but his righteousness could have covered our sins? In whom was it possible for us, the lawless and ungodly, to be justified, except in the Son of God alone? Oh, the sweet exchange! Oh, the incomprehensible work of God! Oh, the unexpected blessings! That the sinfulness of many should be hidden in one righteous person, while the righteousness of one should justify many sinners. The majesty and beauty of this text are striking, and we can scarcely say that no one in the early church understood justification by faith. Sinners are justified by God's grace, as the Son of God took upon himself the guilt we deserve.